Did you know that the Filipino people touched the heart of Finland's Prime Minister so deeply that she couldn't even speak? Yes, that's true. Sometimes a small act of love or kindness can mean more than we think. Have you ever felt so moved by someone's strength or kindness that you had no words? That's exactly what happened in this story. This is a real and touching moment, a moment so strong and emotional that it left one of the most powerful leaders in the world completely speechless. It's about how Filipino workers living in Finland made such a big impact on Prime Minister Sanna Marin's heart that she could hardly say a word. It's not just about a kind action. It's about two very different countries, Finland and the Philippines, coming together in a beautiful and emotional way. Even though these two countries are far apart and have different cultures, they both know what it's like to fight through hard times and come out stronger. Finland, a peaceful country in Northern Europe, is known for its stunning nature, clean lakes, quiet forests, and snowy winter. But what many people don't see is its past filled with pain, struggle, and strength. For a long time, Finland was ruled by other countries. First Sweden, then the Russian Empire, until it finally became free in 1917. It was not an easy road, and yet, through all of that, Finland stood strong. And now, people from the Philippines, many working far from home, have brought their warmth, hard work, and love into this northern land. And in return, they touched hearts in ways that words can't describe. After Finland became a free country, its early years were not easy at all. In 1918, a terrible civil war broke out. This war wasn't just about politics. It tore families apart and left deep pain in people's hearts. Neighbors became enemies, and the country was broken from the inside. Imagine living in a place where the person next door might be fighting against you. That's how sad and painful it was. But the pain didn't stop there. In the 1900s, Finland had to go through more suffering. The most shocking was the Winter War, when Finland had to fight against the powerful Soviet Union. Even though they were smaller and less prepared, the Finnish people fought bravely in freezing temperatures with very little supplies. It was a fight for survival. And then came another war, the Continuation War. So much sadness, so much loss. But through all of this, the people of Finland never gave up. After the wars ended, Finland slowly started to rebuild. They didn't have much, but they had hope. They worked hard to fix their towns, their schools, and their broken lives. They believed that every person, rich or poor, deserved help. That's why they built a strong system to take care of people. They gave importance to good schools, free healthcare, and equal rights. They wanted a better life for everyone, no matter their background. And guess what? It worked. From a country full of war and sadness, Finland became one of the happiest places in the world. Today, people from all over the globe admire Finland for its kindness, smart education, clean environment, and the way it takes care of its people. Finland shows us that even after deep pain and darkness, a nation can rise again with love, unity, and hope. Now, let's look at the Philippines, a beautiful country made up of over 7,000 islands in Southeast Asia. But behind the palm trees and beaches is a past filled with pain, strength, and survival. The history of the Philippines is long and heavy. For over 300 years, the country was ruled by Spain. Imagine that. More than 3 centuries of foreign control. The Spanish changed almost everything, the language people spoke, the religion they followed, and even how they lived. The Filipinos were not free, but they didn't stay silent. They stood up and fought for their freedom. After all those years under Spain, the Philippines finally gained independence in 1898. But that moment of joy didn't last long. Right after, the United States took control and the country was under American rule until 1946. That's almost 50 more years of waiting to be truly free. Can you imagine how hard that must have been? Generation after generation growing up under someone else's flag. All that time under foreign rule left deep marks. It changed the way people think, speak, and even how they see themselves. Yet, out of that pain, a rich and colorful culture was born, mixed with many influences but held together by the strong spirit of the Filipino people. Just like Finland, the Philippines also had its own battles, not just against outsiders, but within its own land. There were times of fear, like during the martial law under President Marcos Sr., when many lost their rights, their freedom, and even their lives. These were dark times, full of silence, fear, and broken dreams. But the people never lost hope. Even with all the pain and problems, the Filipino people have always stood strong. No matter how hard life gets, they never give up. That's what makes them special. The Philippines is known for its warm and caring people, for neighbors who treat each other like family, and for hearts that keep going even when everything around them is falling apart. Whether it's typhoons destroying homes, government troubles shaking the nation, or money problems making life harder, Filipinos keep smiling, helping each other, and holding on to hope. Their strength is quiet, but powerful. In many ways, their story is not so different from Finland's. Finland had to rebuild after war and pain, and it rose to become one of the safest and happiest countries in the world. Just like that, the Philippines has had to heal after years of being ruled by others, after political troubles, and after facing poverty. But they continue to rise with faith, family, and love in their hearts. Finland's strength comes from good schools, fair systems, and strong support for its people. The Philippines finds its strength in its rich traditions, strong families, and the belief that tomorrow can still be better. Two countries so far apart on the map, so different in culture, but both have proven something powerful. That even when the world pushes you down, you can stand back up. That even after the darkest times, hope can still shine. This is where the true story of strength and heart begins. The deep connection between Finland and the Philippines. Picture this. Prime Minister Sanna Marin walks into a healthcare center. It's quiet but full of emotion. Then she sees them, the Filipino workers. They greet her with gentle, warm smiles. But behind those smiles are tired eyes. Eyes that have seen long hours, hard days, and sleepless nights. Many of these workers left their families behind in the Philippines. Some haven't hugged their children or seen their parents in months. Can you imagine that pain? To care for strangers while your own loved ones are far away? But they still stood there, strong and full of purpose, ready to give their best for a country that is now their second home, Finland. As Prime Minister Marin looked around the hospital, she didn't just see workers, she saw heroes. The atmosphere was serious, but it was also filled with care and kindness. Even with the heavy pressure of the pandemic, these Filipino nurses were doing more than just their jobs. They were saving lives, giving comfort to the lonely, and holding the hands of the frightened. Wearing their scrubs, they moved quickly but gently, helping the elderly, giving vaccines, and calming scared patients with soft voices. It was a heartbreaking but beautiful moment, seeing how much love and sacrifice could live inside one hospital, inside the hearts of people far from home. The Filipino caregivers were doing something truly powerful. They were taking care of the sickest, the most fragile people, those who were completely alone. Some patients couldn't have family by their side because of the strict quarantine rules. But these nurses didn't let them feel alone. With quiet kindness, they gently held their hands, stayed close, and gave them comfort when no one else could. During a short but touching moment, Prime Minister Sanna Marin spoke to one of the Filipino nurses. The hospital was full of noise and stress, yet the nurse stayed calm and steady. Her voice was soft, but her words were full of strength. She told the Prime Minister that she had been working in Finland for many years, far away from her children. She hadn't seen them in so long. But still, she stayed not for money, not for praise, but because she felt a duty in her heart. "This is our home too," the nurse said. "We're here not just to work, but to love and support in the way we know best." Those words hit Marin hard. In that one moment, something inside her shifted. It was no longer just about jobs or healthcare. It was about love, sacrifice, and deep human strength. While the rest of the world was scared, confused, and lost, these Filipino workers were standing tall. They were more than nurses. They were quiet heroes, showing what real courage and heart look like. It wasn't just about medical skills. What truly made a difference was their empathy, the way they truly cared. They connected with people's pain, they shared it, and that made everything feel human again. Sanna Marin was deeply moved, her eyes filled with emotion as she later stood in public and gave thanks to all Filipino workers in Finland for their endless dedication, for their strength, and most of all, for their love. "You're not just helping Finland fight this pandemic," Prime Minister Sanna Marin said with deep emotion in her voice. "You are helping show the world what real care looks like. You are the heart of this nation right now." Her words weren't just kind, they were powerful. On that day, the hard work of the Filipino workers wasn't just noticed, it was truly honored. It was more than just a speech. It was a moment of connection, a powerful bond between the Prime Minister and the people who had given so much, quietly and without expecting anything in return. That simple encounter opened many eyes across Finland. People began to talk more about how important migrant workers really are. And from that talk came action. New ideas and programs were started to better recognize and support those workers, especially the ones who left everything behind to help others in need. But here's where the story becomes even more touching. The Filipino workers, even after all they had done, wanted to say thank you to the Prime Minister. Not with something big or expensive, but with something deeply meaningful. They gave her a small, handmade gift. That bag spoke louder than words. It showed their strength, their roots, and the simple but powerful beauty of their culture. It was a symbol of who they were, people who rise even when life gets hard, people who give even when they have little, and people who love even when they are far from home. It was a small gift, but it carried a huge message. We're with you. We're part of this country too, and we'll keep standing strong together. The moment was heavy, too heavy for words. It wasn't just about the small gift, the bayong. It was about everything it stood for. It was a quiet reminder of how these workers had helped hold up the whole country when everything felt like it was falling apart. During the dark days of the pandemic, when even the strongest systems were breaking, they stood strong. They didn't just survive, they helped Finland survive. As Prime Minister Sanna Marin looked into their eyes, she saw so many feelings. There was pride, deep pride, but there was also sadness, a longing for home, a tiredness that came from months of hard work, far away from loved ones. Yet, in their eyes, she also saw something unshakable. Hope. These people didn't just come to work, they came to help. And they carried more than just their own pain, they carried Finland's pain too. The room was quiet, but the silence said so much. No one needed to speak. Everyone there felt the weight of what had been shared, of what had been sacrificed. This wasn't about politics or rules, it was about people. Real people. And for a few powerful minutes, nothing else mattered. Not race, not background, not where someone came from. Just one thing remained. Our shared humanity. That small woven bag now meant everything. It wasn't just a present. It was a symbol of love, of strength, of connection. And as the silence stretched on, Marin felt something deep inside her heart. She knew, no matter what she said, no words would ever fully capture the meaning of this moment. It was more than history, it was human, and it would stay with her forever. A touching moment between Prime Minister Sanna Marin and the Filipino workers quickly spread everywhere. It became a story that reached across the world, showing the world how many people work quietly behind the scenes, often without thanks, especially when things are tough. What began as a small act of saying thank you turned into something much bigger. It became a shining symbol of hope. This story didn't just raise awareness, it sparked important conversations. People started talking about the rights of workers, how they should be treated fairly, and how much we often forget about those who keep everything running. It made people think about how society should care more for essential workers, give them the respect they deserve, and pay them fairly. People from all walks of life came together to recognize how hard workers work to keep the world safe and functioning. At its heart, this story was about unity, especially at a time when many felt alone or div-sided. It showed how simple acts of kindness and thanks can bring people together, no matter where they are from. It was a powerful reminder that despite our many differences, people can join hands in solidarity to make the world a better place.